What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and after that Dragon Maid experience, didn't like I said, did not super enjoy that deck. So I decided to, for this one, play this is probably my second or third favorite deck. It's Tindangle. I love it. It's a flip deck in the Vrain's era, so that's kind of amazing. And the art is really cool, and it's all about like math and stuff, and it's awesome. But yeah, they recently got some new support, and it's actually pretty great. So yeah, we just decided to do this. Gathered a few good replays. These ones did not get corrupted, thankfully. And yeah, let's just get right into the deck profile. So as you can see, we have a lot of monsters. But first, let's go over the new support card, just so you guys know why this works. So it is Tindangle Geralf. Geralf. It's Geralf. He's Tindangle Geralf. And his flip effect lets you take a flip monster from your deck, except itself, to either send it to the graveyard or add it to your hand. And it can special summon itself from your hand by discarding a card and then sending a Tindangle card from your deck to the graveyard, except for itself, as a hard once per turn. So the combo that most of you probably know is have Gerald discard something, send Intruder, special summon itself face down. Oh, apparently my Malware Bytes premium trial has expired. Good to know. Uh, and then, because Gerald special summons itself in face down defense position, the Intruder that you just sent to the graveyard will have its effect activate, which lets you special summon it in face down defense position. So, it's an easy way to, I believe it's still technically a +0, but it's an easy way to get cards on board, multiple monsters face down. As far as Intruder's actual effect goes, when flipped, it lets you add a Tindangle card from your deck to your hand. So that's pretty good. But yeah, generally speaking, you only need it at 1 to summon it off of Gerald. As far as the rest of their cards go that we're running, we have 3 copies of Tindangle Trinity. And when it is flipped, it lets you special summon a Tindangle base Gardener from your deck, which we run at free, and we'll get into why in a second here. And if it was flipped face up, your Tindangle monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and if it's sent to the graveyard as link material, you get to search Gurgones and from your deck, uh, and send a spell trap from your deck to the graveyard. So the idea is to set Trinity. Your opponent will attack into it. It'll flip. It'll summon a base Gardna. Then next turn you'll have a normal summonable Tindangle to go into Acute Cerberus, searching the Gorgones and to hook it up with. So pretty easy stuff. Effect destruction is annoying, but we have some answers for that. Now let's go ahead and go over base Gardna, because base Gardna is easily the most important card in this deck, and if it gets handled, you are just screwed. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a flip monster. It's a level 5 Dark Fiend, and it special summons itself from your hand in defense as long as you control a set monster. So it's pretty good. As it's also a hard once per turn. Keep that in mind. And it also has a disrupt-ish type effect. If a monster's is normal or special summon and is pointed to by an opponent's link monster, except during the damage step, you contribute it to special summon a Tindangle from your hand or deck in attack position or face down defense position. So this is another good way to access your Tindangle monsters. It usually doesn't come up that much just because it involves your opponent summoning something to a link zone, and not all decks do that a lot. But you still run it at free for Acute Cerberus, which we will get into in a second here. As far as our other Tindangles go, though, we have Tindangle Angel. They're all Dark Fiends, gonna say that now. Its flip effect lets you special summon a flip monster from your hand or grave, and if it ends the battle phase, if it was flipped during the battle phase, as a hard once per turn. Then we also have Tindangle Hound, a big boy with 2,500 attack with the flip effect that lets you target another monster on the field, flip it face down, and then it gains attack points equal to the monster it flipped. And each monster your opponent controls loses 1,000 attack for each monster linked to it. And if it's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target a face down monster on the field, change it to face up defense position. So the idea is you can flip an opponent's monster face down to get big attack. You can reset one of your own Tindangles, and if it's ever handled, then you will have the ability to activate to reset yet another Tindangle. I'm not gonna lie, the numbers on Hound are pretty varying. That's really fine at any amount, but yeah, it is always worth running. I'll say that. That's all the Tindangle stuff, and my voice just did a serious crack there. Very sorry, that's embarrassing. But as far as our other more generic type monsters go, we have Spirit of the Fallwind and Prediction Princess Koinorma. So Spirit of the Fallwind first. When it's normal summon, you can add a flip monster from your deck to your hand. So the idea is you can normal summon Fallwind, search Geralf, use Geralf effect to go into the Intruder plus Geralf combo with a little bit of graveyard setup. The downside of that, though, there's really not much you can do with a Spirit of the Fallwind after you've used it, but I mean, there's some things you could do against like a lesser board. And then we also have Prediction Princess Koinorma, a level 3 Earth Fairy that has a flip effect. It lets you special summon a level 3 or higher flip monster from your hand or deck in face down defense position, and you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except its Prediction Princess monsters. So generally speaking, this is just a good sort of searcher for our less accessible cards. And say you use this to summon like Tindangle Trinity. Tindangle Trinity's second effect is thankfully continuous, so it will not be impacted by the Prediction Princess Koinorma. So it's a good searcher. This deck already has a lot of pretty decent consistency boosting, though, all things considered, so it is possible to cut this if you so desire to. Now, as far as our spell and trap card lineup goes, we have generic stuff, Free Allure of Darkness for pretty much entirely dark monsters and sometimes Hound Brick, so we use it. Foolish Burial good because our Tindangle Delune as well as our Noggles Protection both have graveyard effects, so if we can get them into the graveyard just right away, that's pretty good. Called by the Grave because this deck kind of struggles against hand traps. Not gonna lie, a lot of decks do, but this one kinda in particular. Now, and we also have free Solemn Judgment because it's a good counter trap. It's nice to be able to back up our big boy Cerberus with the Judgment. So yeah, I mean, if you have a different generic counter trap you prefer, run those. But this is just what I found worked best for my build. Now for the actual Tindangle stuff. So first, let's go over the one of Gorgon's End. So you could make the argument to have this at 2 in the main and then just put a third one on the side. I have it at 1 in the main and 1 in the side because spell trap removal is harmful. But let's go over what it does real fast. So it is a normal trap, unless you target a Tindangle Link monster you control and equip it to itself. It makes it so it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and your opponent cannot target with card effects, so Chaos Max Protection. And once per turn, if there are monsters in all the zones the monster this is equipped with points to, so in the case of Acute Cerberus, bottom left, bottom right, and forward, you can get rid of this to destroy all the monster it points to, all the monsters that your link monster is pointing to, and then upon the activation, when the destruction was declared, your opponent will be burnt for that much damage. So say you have 2 Tendangles and 1 monster facing forward. This is actually a situation that happens in one of the replays, so preparing you for that. And they try to do something. You can pop it, destroy all the monsters that your acute service is pointing to, and from there you'll just be able to burn them for 4,000 damage because of acute service's ability to gain attack points. So It's very good. Definitely a sort of win con for the acute Cerberus turbo type decks, which is basically any viable Tindangle strategy. And yeah, run it at 1 or 2. Never at free, though. You don't need this at free. If you think you do, you're a fool. I hate to tell you this now, but you're dumb. Okay, it doesn't need to be at free. Oh, hey, there was a Discord blip. I might have to edit that out later. Alright, but now for the rest of our spell traps, we have Noggle's Protection. It says continuous spell that says Tindangle monsters in your main monster zone cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. And once per turn, if your Tindangle monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, the damage becomes doubled. It also has a graveyard effect where you can banish it from your graveyard, discard a Tindangle card to add another copy of itself from your deck to your hand. So it is technically searchable off of Foolish Burial Goods. Delune is a little bit more straightforward. You probably could run this at less, but I chose it to run it at free because I wanted to. It says that when you take battle damage, so long as you have 3 differently named Tindangle monsters in your graveyard, you can destroy the monster that did the damage, and then special summon a acute Cerberus from your extra deck, assuming that your extra monster zone is empty. However, what makes it very valuable is the graveyard effect. If you have no monster in the extra monster zone, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target 3 differently named Tindangle monsters in your grave, special them, and face down defense position. And that is some insane recovery you can do. And if your acute Cerberus gets handled, it just gives you the ability to go right back into it if you want to. So it's pretty nuts, honestly. Now, as far as the extra deck goes, first, standard stuff, Nightmare Package, free Wee Witch because we're mostly darks, Boral Sword for potential OTK stuff, 2 Boral Load because I like to steal monsters too. And now we get to the part that I care about, Tindangle Acute Servers, the Tindangle Link Monster, which is it's not terrible. It definitely needs to be back to Biker Gone's end, but it's not awful. So it's a link free, requires free Tindangle monsters for the summoning, and it gains 3,000 attack if you have 3 or more Tindangle monsters with different names in your graveyard, including Tindangle Base Gardener. It also gains 500 attack for each Tindangle monster it points to, and at the end of the battle phase, if this card declares an attack or declared an attack, you special summon 1 Tindangle token. So on the surface, it's not great, but when you back it up with the rest of the Tindangle cards, it actually becomes super nuts. And that's also why I said that Base Gardna is the most important card in the deck because Cerberus is your win con, and you need that Base Gardna in the graveyard in order to pull it off. So yeah, if you want to fight a Tindangle player effectively, hit their Base Gardnas. Nothing they can do. Not gonna lie to you. But yeah, so that's the main deck. Now the side deck we have again. Let's go over the standard stuff first. Free Radiant. It's dark. It's a dark kaiju, so it's a target for Allure of Darkness, which is pretty good. Free Twin because spell trap removal is nice. Free Storming Mirror Force because we need to slow our opponents down. It might. Another Gorgon's End, just in case our opponent has oodles and poodles of spell trap removal, and we want to go back into a protected acute Cerberus. Then we have a couple Solemn Strikes in case our opponent is doing something more monster heavy. In that case, you can just replace them with Judgments to pay less life points, basically. And now for the real side tech, Imperial Iron Wall. It's a simple continuous trap that says neither player can banish cards. All it says, all it needs to say. Because what it does is it keeps our Tindangle monsters from being banished, so we can keep them in the graveyard for recovery of Delune, keeping the acute Cerberus at full attack points, for Angel's effect to special summon some stuff. Intruder in the grave can special summon itself, possibly. Like it's a very solid, but not a lot of people play banish.dex much anymore. There are a few people out there though, so it is definitely worth siding in with it. But yeah, so that's the deck profile. If you're new here, we do a few games or we watch a few replays. analyze them. I look at what I could have done good, what I did bad, what could have been better, stuff like that. And before we get into the replays, one announcement. There will be no videos next week. I am going on a trip, and I would like the chance to relax a little. So you're not going to be getting anything next week. I'm very sorry for that, but I will be coming back very strong the week after that. And all that being said, I'll see you guys in the first replay. Okay, welcome to the first replay with player. We are on your head because we're flipping them on their heads, and you always want to go first with this deck, which is what we managed to do. We're playing against ABC with a slight Sky Striker engine, so we did manage to go first. We used Gerald's effect to summon itself, sending the intruder. Intruder now special summons itself like that. Then we'll set Trinity, set the Judgment, and pass it up. So not awful. We have 3 monsters on board. One of them is big, 2 of them are a search, and one of them is a straight up special summon from deck. So plus the Judgment, we're in a pretty good spot here. However, our ABC opponent not going to necessarily go down, so he goes and search Union Hanger, activates Union Hanger to get B. He summons B. We solemn the B because if you stop ABC's first normal summon, then they are just... There's really nothing they can do about it, honestly. So we get the Judgment, he goes and just sets the Call by the Grave, and then it's back to us. So we get another Judgment, so we have Flip Intruder, going to try to get a search here. He will Ash it, that's fine. We have another search with Gerald, so we get the Angel, because Angel is a very good recovery option. Then we flip the Trinity to summon the base Gardener from deck. And at that point, he just quit. But basically, what we were going to do from here is we were going to use Gerald and Trinity, as well as... Actually, no, we would have used Gardener here, in order to summon the Acute Cerberus, then bam, bam, attack, and yeah, it was going to be very cool. It would have been neat. But yeah, so that was game 1. That's the deck pretty much going off 100% perfectly. And now we're going to see the deck where the deck hard loses. And I will see you guys in that replay. Okay, going to the next replay with level 35 boss. He's playing a hero deck, and this time we unfortunately did not get to go first. We did open pretty decently though, so I was feeling kind of confident here. But he is going to do some comboing with heroes. Heroes can do combos now. It's very strange. It's honestly a little disconcerting. But he's going to get the mask change. Uses Ferris. Ferris gets him the increase. And then he is going to use increase effect to tribute Ferris. Get increase on the field. Summon Vion from deck. Vion sends Mali. Mali summons another. He searches the Poly. Gets the sword back. As you can see, he set up a pretty good board here. Called by the Grave is nice. The Mask Chain, the Twin Twisters, yeah, it's pretty good. And the Mask Chains, though, that's where this becomes a problem, because we need Graveyard set up. So we go ahead and try to activate Foolish Burial Goods, trying to send a Noggle's Protection to the grave, but the Mask Change is going to trade that for a Dark Law. So we went ahead and just hit another Foolish Burial Goods because we did not want to lose a Noggle's Protection. So he is going to get a hero monster to hand, though. So we set Judgment, summon Spirit of the Fall Winds. Spirit of the Fall Winds is going to search the Angel because Gerald cannot actually special summon itself under Dark Law because you need to be able to discard cards to the graveyard. And because Dark Law says you can't do that, you can't summon it under him. So he does hit the Angel, though, which is fine. I was hoping we could hold on to it, but it's not the worst thing in the world to lose it. So we do attack over the Mali, though. Clear the board a little bit, give him less material to work with. So he makes the cross guy. My thought process here was that I don't need to Judgment yet, because I thought he was going to go into the Dread Decimator from here. But he does that instead. So that was unfortunate. I was waiting for him to extend farther, and he did not. So that was my own misplay there. He attacks over Spirit Fall Winds, and we're taking some large damage at the moment. We do have Trinity, though, so we can stall for a little bit of time. Yeah, he Twin Twisters, pops for Delune. It's fine. So he goes, tries to attack over Trinity. Trinity gets us the base Gardna. Our monsters cannot be destroyed because of Trinity's effect. So we go ahead and make the Nightmare Cerberus, use it to pop the Dark Law, and from there we are in a position where we can finally play. So it did take us a second. So we can go ahead and try attack over the increase, mostly because I just wanted to get the Honest Neos out of the way. So, I do. I'm fairly confident I'm living the battle of this turn with the Trinity. He is going to get hero monsters and such back, though, like another Honest Neos. So we do get a base Gardener. So at this point, what we needed was we needed another normal summon of a Tindangle monster, which we did get. So we go into Acute Cerberus. Acute Cerberus searches the Gorgon's End. We send the Noggle's Protection off of the Trinity as well. Use Trinity's effect to get the, or not Trinity, sorry. Noggle's Protected Banish itself, discard the Hound, and get a protection back. Activate the protection and set the Gorgon's End. We did not attack here because he still does have the Honesty Neos, and I would much rather not just crash and die. So we go into the standby phase, give our boy Gorgon's End, and yeah, that's about the best we can do at the moment. So he is going to continue comboing off here. He goes to the Dread Decimator, then just uses Honesty Neos to attack it over us. So yeah, the deck, it can definitely get back on its feet if it needs to, but it can honestly be a struggle at times for it to do so. But yeah, that's the deck not doing well. As you see, with stuff like Dark Law, Macrocosmos, anything that mass banishes us, really. Oh, sorry about that. It really just causes so much problems for this deck because so much relies on having access to the graveyard. But yeah, we have one more replay to show you. It is just to show an insane duel I had with this deck. It doesn't really go over anything in particular outside of read card text or else you're liable to misplay and lose. But yeah, it was a good game in this last one, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the last replay. Alright, on to the final replay with Rover. He is playing some Tenyi, which is pretty good deck. And we are going second and have opened up. I mean, it's not the worst opening ever. We have the Allure that we can use. We have a set with currently Norma. We'll be able to special summon our base card. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world. So yeah, our boy Rover gonna go ahead and just do some of those sick Tenyi combos. Get to his big boy real fast. Use the terraforming to get perfection, and activate it so he's not really a problem. And Jewel of the Valiant because he will be able to banish his worm monsters from the graveyard, and as all the Tenyi are different attributes, he will be able to set up the graveyard with whatever Tenyi attributed spirit dragons that he wants. So good plays here. Not to mention the perfection makes this unaffected by monster effects. So yeah, good stuff out of our opponent. So now we're going. We go ahead and use the Foolish Burial Goods to send the Noggle's Protection for a little deck thinning before we draw. We go ahead and use Allure of Darkness, banish the Hound, because we don't really need it. Summon Spirit of the Fall Winds, gets us Geralt. Geralt will be dropping the... what did I just... okay, I guess I discarded... Oh yeah, I discarded Koinorma here. Set Geralt, send Intruder from deck. Intruder summons itself. We can special summon the base Gardna. That unfortunately does proc our opponent's Flawless Perfection. Gets a couple draws. The Metaverse, solid enough. The Vessel for Dragon Soul is good though. We're going to go ahead and activate Noggle's Protection, so now everything except for Spirit of the Fall Wind is protected, but he is going to pop off here. He gets Anja, goes ahead, just gonna make the Shaman of the Tenyi, as well as having the Mapura on the field ready to go. So I go ahead, because he's special summoned to a zone that a link points to, I attributed the base Gardna to set a Hound from deck, like that. And our opponent is going to revive the Mare, which will allow them to go even further beyond. Alright, so he pops the Noggle's Protection, and what happened here was because a non-effect monster attacked, Shaman was able to pop a card on the field, so he attacked in the Spear of the Fall Winds and got rid of our Noggle's Protection at the same time, which is a problem. So he is going to go ahead and make Master of the Tenyi. He uses the Vashuda to bounce back our Hound, which is a little unfortunate. Gonna make another Berserker. And things are a little rough, but not totally awful. Not yet. So we already used Noggle's Protection, drop the Hound, so we have that back. Activate it, flip the Intruder to get a search for the base Gardna, flip the Gerald to get a search for the Trinity. We summon Trinity, go into the Acute Cerberus. Then we use Trinity's effect to go ahead and search the Gorgon's End. Our opponent unfortunately does get some more draws, but we do have the Delaunay sent for a little bit more recovery. So we're going ahead and setting the Gorgon's End, passing up because I would rather not crash here. Seems like a bad plan. So we go ahead and activate Gorgon's End to protect him, and we're in a little bit of a better spot here. So our opponent is going to combo off some more of Tenyi. So hard summons Vashuda, then he gets the Baxia on the field, which he's going to use to shuffle back our Gorgon's End as well as our Noggle's Protection. So that is unfortunate for us. It's going to pop itself to get the Mapura back. Vashuda bounces the Cerberus, but we can chump block with the Delaunay, thankfully, to revive Trinity, Hound, and Intruder, all of which are good things to have flipped up when we can. He chooses to go for the Hound, so we flip the Mapura. It's destroyed, and then we get the Hound effect when it's destroyed to go ahead and flip our Trinity. Trinity summons us the base Gardner from deck, and we are all set to go back into yet another Cerberus in the next turn. So our opponent's going to go ahead and set Rivalry. So we do have that. We use Noggle's Protection to get our Noggle's Protection once again. Activate it, special summon a base Gardna. Our opponent does get to draw a couple cards, which is unfortunate. Flip the Intruder to get a search. Normal summon the Angel, so we can make a 4,000 attack Acute Cerberus because it's pointing to 2 Tindangle monsters. So at this point, I feel a little better about attacking. I believe he does have the green one in graveyard. He had Nahata. So we are just going to go ahead. So yeah, we use Trinity to get the Gorgon's End back, as well as sending yet another Delaunay. Then we enter the battle phase. We're going to go ahead and attack over the Mapura, because if we attacked into the Fierce Ogre, he could have easily just Nahated us. So Acute Cerberus is going to get us a token, which, I don't know, it's good chump block. So yeah, and then standby phase, as usual, we are going to end on our boy. So he's going to use Vashuda plus that to make the Fierce Ogre Deity. He will attempt to use Vashuda to bounce back our Gorgon's End. So we are going to go ahead and use the effect of Gorgon's End to get rid of all the monsters that it is pointing to, including Fierce Ogre itself, which is pretty nice, and burning for 4,000 because at the time of Gorgon's End activation, our Cerberus had 4,000 attack points. So, yeah, pretty good. He is going to get the Jewel of the Valiant effect, though, which is unfortunate. So he goes into the Great Battle phase, uses Nahata to beat over our boy, which is unfortunate. We use Delaunay because our extra monster zone is now empty to get back Intruder, the Angel, as well as a base Gardna. So again, we are once more set to go into the boy. But yeah, so we're in an okay position here. We use Intruder to get a search for Delaunay. We use the Angel to go ahead and pull our Hound back from the graveyard, flip the base Gardna, tribute these free, including the token, to remake Acute Cerberus, pointing to only Intruder this time. So, have to deal with that, unfortunately. Unfortunately, perfection is happening, but we do summon Spirit of the Fall Wind. It gives us a search for Gerald. Gerald special summons itself, which is pretty good. So we go ahead, attack over that. Well, I forgot about the second green one, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so we go ahead to set our Delaunay, which is going to actually work out in second. So he does make the Lamphorhynchus, going to use the Adhara to go ahead and get back a banished Tenyi spirit. Mashuda, which is smart. So he attacks over the Spirit of the Fall Wind, which is perfectly fine. It gives us the ability to use our Delaunay, so we are popping that and summoning the Acute Cerberus from our extra deck. However, he did have Spana, so he will bring it back and pop something on the field. He did pop our boys, unfortunately, so he's going to attack into the Intruder, and we are in a tough spot here, but we're still pretty well off. So Hound is going to flip Intruder to gain attack points. Intruder will then flip up again to get itself a search. Flip the Gerald for yet another search. Summon the Trinity. Go into Subterra Behemoth Fiendus. It's a good card for flip decks. I guess I forgot to go over it. But yeah, it just requires 2 flip monsters, and it lets you special summon flip monsters face down. So it's pretty cool. So he does get the perfection, though. We try to activate the Behemoth effect. Then he uses the Unrivaled Fist to negate that effect, unfortunately. But, we can go into the battle phase still. He does activate the Rivalry of Warlords. He picks Worms, we pick Fiends. So Lamphorhynchus has to go away. We get a new target for the attack, which is Fierce Tenyi Ogre. Then we use Delaunay to bring back our boys. So we attack over the Fierce Ogre. He has yet another Spana. He is in a tight spot here, and this is where I misplay. Okay, this is where I just completely drop the ball on this game. So yeah, we did get popped, unfortunately, and then we go for the Nightmare Cerberus. My thought process here was, okay, so he's been through like 3 Fierce Ogres at this point. He can't use Fauna twice. He has like barely any extra deck. The Spirit Dragons on their own, really not doing much to me just because I have bigger numbers. So if I pop the Fierce Ogre here, then I probably just win. Like I probably just win this game. So I decided, okay, I will go for Nightmare Cerberus, and I'll pop it, and I will win this game. And then I forgot Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi makes it so non-effect monsters are unaffected by monster effects. Because you can still target it, it's just not affected. So yeah, it doesn't get popped. If we had just switched Intruder to Fence mode, I feel like I would have won. But I didn't, so he's going to Vishuda our back row, attack over the Cerberus, and I'm going to lose that one. But yeah, it was honestly an awesome duel. Definitely a lot of back and forth. I thought it was very fun. Very fun to play against this one. Like, Rover was a very cool person about it, too. We were chatting during it. He was awesome. But yeah, so that's the deck. Let me know what you think. Any ways I can make this better? Should I play Grone's End at 2 and Delaunay at 2? I'm thinking that might be the more correct ratio to use. But yeah, I love the deck, and I would love any tips that you could give me to it. And don't say play Euler's Circuit, because that card is so bad. It locks you into a specific play style, and the deck doesn't benefit from it whatsoever, and it's just... don't play Euler's Circuit, is basically what I'm saying. Don't do that, unless you're trying, like, a gimmicky meme challenge. But yeah. All that being said, like if you liked, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.